Fantasy Philosophers is brought to you by fantasy-info.com.
What a wild year it was for Michael Crabtree. As, obviously he had all those problems. Was he going to get traded because the team wasn't going to sign him? And was there tampering charges from other teams, like maybe the Jets, because they were saying they were going to give him a deal later on in the next offseason or whatever? A lot of things were going on with Michael Crabtree. He held out longer than any guy I can ever remember, as he went into, I think he missed the first 4 games, I want to say, before he signed. And then by the 5th game, before the team played the Falcons, he signed, and then he was on the sideline. So he missed the first 5 games, and then they had a bye week. Hey man, I'll tell you what, as soon as he signed, he had a couple weeks to get himself ready, and boy was he ever ready, as Mike Singletary made him the starting receiver right away. During the Week 7 game against the Houston Texans, he came back to Texas and played right away. And there was some criticism. I remember John Madden was critical that the Niners were going to start this guy right away, and that maybe this isn't for loyalty and things like that. How can you let a guy who's done this start right away? But Mike Singletary, to his credit, he took a look at Michael Crabtree. He also took a look at his roster depth at receiver and noticed that Crabtree was in shape. He had studied his playbook, and he was ready to roll. And roll he did, as in his first game, I want to say he had about 5 receptions. Not only did he have 5 receptions and play productive, this guy came right in, played just about every single snap, and that shows you he was conditioned and healthy to be able to play every single snap in a game and take those 5 catches. But I'll tell you what, the guy, and what really blew me away, not only could he stay healthy, not only did he play every snap, not only did he make catches and make plays for his team on a regular basis, the things that really blew me away is, one, he didn't look lost on the field at all last season, and maybe that's a good credit of the Niners not making things too advanced for him, but he looked very, he knew what he was doing on a football field, and that's to see a guy, remember, he didn't have any OTA work because of the foot surgery. He didn't practice in training camp because of the holdout, and he didn't play in the first 5 games of the year because of the holdout, and then getting, that Falcons game was just a couple days before that game that he signed, so he needed a little bit of time to, work out with the team, obviously, and get himself ready to roll. Anyway, the guy goes on, he catches 48 balls, he starts all the last 11 games for the team, catches 48 balls, has over 600 yards receiving. He did only get 2 touchdowns, but still, that's a phenomenal. Really, when you look back and you see that he missed all that time, that's pretty darn phenomenal for a guy to just walk in and do that. Sure, he was on a team that, hey, they needed somebody other than Vernon Davis to catch the rock, but he was there to catch it. He played well, and you got to give him a lot of credit for that. And that's really, makes me feel a lot better about his fantasy value and what kind of player he's going to be in the future here. I think for this season, I think he can make a run for 100 receptions, somewhere, between maybe 85 to 100 this season. Would not surprise me. The team is using him a lot in OTAs. They're using him a lot since March 1st. They were throwing the ball to him a ton, and I think they're going to keep throwing the ball to him a ton. The upgrades that they've had on the offensive line is only going to help Alex Smith have more time in the pocket, finally, to find his targets and get the ball to him. And Alex, one thing he did prove last year, he could get the ball to Vernon Davis, especially in the end zone. He could get the ball to Michael Crabtree. And so I would expect the same thing again this year. So expect around 85 to 100 receptions again, so that's real good for PPR leagues here. I do expect him to go over 1,000 yards this year. And, maybe he's only going to get around 5-6 touchdown catches. We'll see how that works out. He may never be the greatest touchdown maker because he's not a real big target. But at the same time, I think his value as his career gets deeper probably is going to be felt best in PPR type leagues where you're getting a lot of receptions. He's going to probably be a guy that, I would think, as long as his career is going off without too much of a hitch here from here on in, he's the kind of guy that's going to threaten for 1,300 plus yards, most seasons. As the Niners, he's also, remember, the Niners, they're getting better as a football team. This year, they should definitely be competing for the NFC West title. So this is a very good situation he's walking into finally, as this team's starting to show real good signs as a team overall and as an overall offense finally again since the days of Jeff Garcia and Terrell Owens.
For more fantasy football information, go to fantasy-info.com and sign up for our free e-newsletter. Good luck in your 2010 Fantasy Football League. As an added bonus, the Fantasy Info guys will include their 5 secret tips for success in fantasy